Hello everyone, this is Professor Claudine Bentham, and we are focusing on week 3. As promised from last week, I was going to go over the pre-drafting strategies, and I already received a couple of emails from some of you in terms of what are pre-drafting strategies. So just to begin, remember we're focusing on week 3, okay? And I wanted to just recap in terms of where you can find additional information pertaining to developing your writing, okay, for your essay, and the process that it takes. So the pre-drafting is what I'm honing in on, so just be mindful of that. And it's on page 107 to 108 and 115. So on page 107, it talks about listing, free writing, questioning, and I'm going to give you some examples of what that entails. So make sure you just read it thoroughly. Also brainstorming, there's different ways you can pre-draft your first essay so that you're pretty much just brainstorming. And on 115, it talks about using like a bubble map, like the mapping, clustering, concept mapping, okay? So I'm going to give you some examples of what that entails. Again, you had to read from your book, The Power of Words, and so forth. And right now what I'm doing is just scrolling down to the actual pre-drafting discussion post, which is due on Wednesday. Okay, so what I have up, and I'm going to show you in a little bit, just to recap again what we talked about last week, is the essay number 1 checklist, okay, for your first essay. So I'm going to pull it up. It's right here. Okay, and as you can see here, more or less you would have read, okay, majority of the information that you see here, just to start giving you some ideas in terms of your topics. The hateful words, healing words, a problem with communication. My students in the past wrote an essay about empowering words. Some people, selected that. Abusive words, and so forth. So anything pertaining along the lines in reference to the power of language. Okay, so this is pretty much your theme for. Messed it up a little bit. This is pretty much your theme in terms of where your essay should be heading. Okay, so along the way I'll be conducting lessons, activities, just so you can have an idea. Okay, so we're focusing on this right here in terms of brainstorming and what hateful words pretty much would look like. So here I have a sample from what I would consider an acceptable example of brainstorming. This is from one of my students in the past, okay? And this is just in this particular case, and I chose something different in terms of the essay because I don't want you to select some of the things that this individual had written for the essay, but this is just for another essay, and he or she had to brainstorm. And one of the things that she selected, or he selected, was listing, okay? And by listing, in this case, I can see that this person is talking about their dream job, okay, becoming a police officer. So they listed some of the things that they might want to talk about in terms of their dream job, okay? So this will be considered acceptable. Another thing that my student selected as a brainstorming, because again, for your discussion post, you're selecting 2 different brainstorming or pre-drafting techniques. So he or she selected questioning as their second choice, and they generated questions in terms of what specifically they want to address within their essay. Okay, so why become a police officer? What does it take to become a police officer, and so forth. Okay. Last but not least, you're explaining why you selected these brainstorming techniques. Okay. In this particular case, he or she explained why they chose questioning, and this is more or less what I'm looking for. Okay, so just be mindful of that. all right, when you're expressing your brainstorming. Okay. Now another example I wanted to show you. Okay. So if you're talking about hateful words, and I'm a lefty, so please do not mind or pay attention to my wonderful penmanship. But again, you can do a bubble map. Okay, so you can, brainstorm something of this particular sort. It's damaging. Okay, abusive. So you're pretty much just creating just key words, key topics that you would like to address within your topic or based on your topic, hateful words, if you choose that. Okay. Another topic, again, you're not just talking about hateful words. There are other things like healing words or empowering words. So this would be a good example. So you can write about, it helps with motivation, creates a sense of direction for that individual. Okay. Prophetic. Okay, and so on. So that's an example of a like a bubble map, a concept map. All right. Another thing that you can probably do is outlining. Let me just erase this. Bear with me. So outlining is one of the things that was not mentioned in your textbook, in the readings, okay? And the reason why I wanted to go over that primarily, for your speech classes, a lot of your professors would request that you create an outline, okay? And some students are not too familiar with it, so I just wanted to just give you a little recap. Okay, with outlining, you're using Roman numerals to help lay out your information. Okay, so normally you would have your main idea, and then beneath it you would have your supporting details, whatever you want to talk about. And as college students, you should come up with 3 major details. I want to flesh this out just to show you what that would look like. So, and you would create about 2 more of these, okay? More or less, just to give yourself an idea. So let's say how, I like empowering words, so I'm going to select that, okay? So let's say that our thesis was that empowering words are very impactful in, or can be very impactful in someone's life by means of giving them motivation and direction. Okay, so this is our thesis statement. I would call this a working thesis. Okay, so this is your main idea, okay, your thesis statement, and what you would do is for each body paragraphs, and I would consider this as my first body paragraph. You would write down what you would want to say in terms of motivation. Okay, so motivation can increase an individual's pursuit, you know, for a career or in life, you know. So you would create something, a sentence that gears towards that, okay, or something just really brief, because again, you're outlining, so you're not really fleshing it out. And next week we'll talk more about fleshing it out, but this is just to give you an example, because I like this, again, because it helps to organize everything. So again, motivation can give a person a drive in completing their or ascertaining their degree. Okay, try to squeeze that in there. Pardon my penmanship. Okay, so that would be the main idea here. Okay, so let me just highlight that for you so that way you can see. Okay, it's not working, but this would be pretty much your it's acting up, but this will pretty much be your main idea. Then you have your details. Okay, so what 3 things could you talk about in terms of them having to you know, have that drive, that motivation in attaining their degree? So what specific details could you include in there? Okay, so you know, just keep that in mind in terms of whatever your main points are that you want to address. All right, so again, I like this because it gives a very good way of creating your paper. And once you have your main ideas in place, like for your body paragraphs, that will definitely assist you in writing a clear essay when you get to that point. But you can easily type this out for your discussion, and you know, just provide some examples in terms of you know, whatever your topic is. Okay, now for your outline, if you're creating this, if you choose this route, especially for those of you that love to be really organized, you can, you know, create at least 2 to 3 body paragraphs. So what I'm going to do is just give you at least 3 body paragraphs. Okay, and then you have C, so details and details. Okay, so this is pretty much what I expect from you, and then you just have to explain why you chose these pre-drafting tools. Okay, so whether it's outlining, whether it's questioning, whether you're focusing on, you know, free writing, that's another thing that you can do. Just blurt out everything that you have in your mind pertaining to, you know, the power of language, whatever you choose as your specific topic. So you can just start, you know, free writing along the way. Take about 30 minutes and just write whatever you have to say. You know, hateful words, and you just write it all out. Is or are, you know, detrimental to one's upbringing, and then just keep on going and explaining why. And don't worry about spelling, don't worry about grammar or anything of that sort. Just keep on going. Okay, by me having to, you know, make some adjustments in terms of my grammar just now, it's just, that's just how I am. But in terms of those individuals that are comfortable with free writing, you would just give a little blurb, a little example of your pre-drafting. You don't have to give the whole entire essay. You're just trying to just generate some ideas, and that is the purpose of brainstorming. You want to just have something on the table, some kind of direction in terms of where you're heading. Okay. Next week we're going to talk about the layout for your essay. So I'll be giving you a great visual that I show my students, and a lot of Comp 1 teachers tend to use as well. And this will help you to at least know how your essay more or less should be heading towards. Okay? All right, so I hope this helps. Remember, this is due on the 10th. If you have any further questions, feel free to contact me via email. And for those individuals that did email me, thank you very much for not waiting the last minute and for just letting me know that, hey, I need help. I do appreciate that. Okay, and you probably open doors for other students in terms of saying, you know what, oh yeah, I really had a hard time trying to figure out how to go about doing my pre-drafting. So I do appreciate you not waiting the last minute. All right, guys, so I will talk to you later on this week. Enjoy your week, okay? All right.